up to speed, up to speed, up to
Live from the apocalypse.
Woo!
Is this a safe space?
No.
Due to the Egg McMuffin. This is Dano.
I get
Music Empire. And I want to be honest. I'm a very honest person. I'm going to keep it straight with my viewers here. I lost all my mojo this weekend. All of it. Gone. All the coolness that I had acquired with my hat collection is gone because I was in the grocery store with my wife and her sister. And I was like, what are Zell nuts, dude? And my wife's sister just unfolded the edge of the bag. It's hazelnuts.
Oh boy.
Like, oh fuck. I don't know when I'll come back from this. It might take months to come back. But I'm here nursing that injury. Swag injury, okay? My co-host
Everybody's favorite coffee flavor, Zonut coffee. You know?
coffee. So my co-host here every week, someone who before he goes to bed every night has a giant cookie and a glass of milk. The cookie's so big he can't even dunk it in the glass. And so I'm glad that we get to fit in before that ritual.
Yep.
Okay. Somebody told me, Kay, that their favorite part of the show is when I make up weird shit about you in the beginning.
But I can bring joy to people.
It's gotten
Any way
better.
possible.
It's gotten better. In the early days, people didn't know I was lying, and it got really awkward. But it's better now.
Right.
So we have some amazing people here. We have incredible producer from Brooklyn. Someone who knows Mean Joe Scheme more than most people do. Optiks. Thank you for being here. And the best intro I can give to my guest is this weekend. No, maybe it was the weekend before. Watched School of Rock with my son. I had never seen School of Rock before. And he had never seen it before. And he turns to me and goes, "Why don't they do this for hip hop, Dad?"
Uh-oh.
And I was like, my guest next week did that shit.
Did that
shit.
Yeah.
Recorded badass rap songs with children, and the song goes. The album goes. It's dope. Find it on Bandcamp. Psalm 1, the real Jack Black.
No, hold on. There's layers of wrong with that. I can't quite pinpoint it though.
No, that's fair. Thank you for being here. They released an album together called "Is This a Safe Space?" And I wanted to. There's a bar in there where you say the music in this has been 10 years coming.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting part is before you, because that's deep in the track listing. I think that's David, maybe.
Yep, it is David.
See, I remember.
You're good.
So,
that boy good.
By that time, I had already come to the conclusion that this must have taken fucking time. This is an album that feels like it was finished, so I was like, man, this thing, it feels really well done in terms of craftsmanship. So how long did this take?
It's slow roasted. We've been making music forever, since probably like 20.
We met what, like 2010, 2011?
Yeah,
it was 2010 because it was right before I moved into this house. Yeah.
And we almost immediately started making music together. But let Optiks tell it, I always cherry picked our best stuff for other albums. So the me and him full album.
I managed to reverse that cycle a little bit here.
Yeah, so we've been making music since like almost a few months after we met, so 2010 2011 ish. And then we've never really stopped making music, but we started after Flight of the Wig, and he contributed so much to Flight of the Wig, and some of the my favorite joints of my entire catalog have been his. It's only right, because we did Don't Get Lazy Now the 2019 like precursor to Flight of the Wig. He did all those. But then after that, and then we did didn't we do Before They Stop Us, that one as well.
Yeah. So a few of those were from like early in our when we started working, and then we Before You Stop Us, the track was like brand new then. Yeah. So yeah, that was and Cult of Yay. I always forget that's
Cult
the
of Yeah,
single.
yeah.
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 But yeah, I mean, so yeah, we've worked together a long time. I'd say this album, you could break it up two ways. You could say it took what we started it in 2018.
Well, yeah, because I just feel like Flight of the Wig, we kind of turned a corner there.
Yeah.
And then
But a couple of these
um
songs are from before Flight of the Wig.
yeah, a few of them are like, and it's crazy how they fit, you know. Um and Optics is a bit of an elitist personally. I think in his life he was working with a lot more artists and really dwindled down, filtered down
Yeah.
to a handful of artists that he just really build exact well two artists that he just really has built with. Like he will send me beats, but I really have to get on a plane to really cook up with him.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
that's
and
why
we
it's
had
slow
a couple
roasted.
of those trips, like sessions where we'd knock out, 5 to 10 joints, and
Yeah.
some of those would end up on Flight of the Wig, some of them on here, a couple of them we might have cut along the way. But yeah,
Mhm.
it was really done in just like a few trips, but then a lot of time to marinate, and things are getting mixed, and we're both you're working on other things, I'm working on other things, but we're from our communication, we both are thinking about this project all that time too. So then when we come
Yeah.
together, things happen really quickly, really organically. I mean, it's funny, like we go out and grab a drink, we'll like talk each other's ear off, but we'll be in the studio and barely talk, you know.
It's true.
And the songs just happen.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I would ask you about that Optics just to because I've seen a lot of really good producers basically say, I work with my people and the people that are approved by those people, right? Like, and that's it. Like I've got my people and that's it. And I don't want to go outside of that. What goes into that process of dwindling down uh those kind
So it started from a couple things. I'm from like the blog era, and so that built up. You were talking about my resume. That built up my resume a little bit, but also that was a like always more. We're trying to work with everybody, trying to build the credits, trying to have as many songs out as possible, and that wasn't good for creativity. It wasn't good for my mental health. It wasn't good for anything. Trying to have that type of pace
Mm.
and work with just anybody and everybody, because I also realized, I can make the greatest beat in the world, but if somebody's just opening up an email, it doesn't seem like the greatest beat in the world.
Mm.
But you know what makes the beats have value outside of like somebody just paying for a beat is if you take the time to come here and you sit and watch me make it for you, then that beat will have value to that art, even if it's not like it's just like we're just gonna make something. It's not like the best thing. It's like it still has that. It's a moment. You're creating a moment instead of just a song. So it's like the energy of you being in a room with an artist and working on something comes through in the music. And I think that's something that's missing with a lot of music that I hear, and something that I think we definitely have with this project. All these songs, even if there's a few where I emailed the beats to song, but
A
like
few.
yeah, they were still all worked on together. Then you brought them here and you recorded them here with me, and we arranged it or added things or whatever, and that made it feel it brought you into the room with us. And I think that's really important with music. And if I listen to a lot of just whatever new music's coming out, my release radar or something, I'm not necessarily getting that from everything that I hear.
that makes sense. Yeah. The Sam, when you were first listening to Optics, music, what stood out as like a superpower?
I met him at a beat battle, so I got to hear his beats for the first time over like, real speakers, venue speakers. And I mean, he just bangs, and then his choices are really slick and really smart. So, and it allows me a lot of opportunity. Like he's versatile and still very like fundamentally hip hop, which is really special because we were talking about this earlier, and it's my love of being versatile and being able to ride different cadences and stuff, but still being, very fundamentally hip hop. I think we both evolved over the years, and his style has gotten, even better, more refined, but it's still what I heard that first time, at that beat battle. It's just like, damn, this motherfucker is making some bangers, and they sound really good, and sometimes it's not even just more complicated than that.
No, and to me, what stood out listening to Is This a Safe Space, but listening to the Optiks catalog was this is somebody who like creates the environment, fills it, as you said, bangers, but like doesn't overstuff it, you know? Like there's room
That's
here.
learned though.
Yeah, there's
I
room
think
here.
Yeah, a little, we joke about that overproduction and like just going through phases of that. I think
Yeah.
he'll tell you as a producer, he went through his, we're talking about the Kanye bongo phase.
Beat battles where I wanted drum rolls where I could do this,
Yeah.
on stage and all that. Like, yeah, no. I had to learn to do less. I think I've
Yeah.
got better with age as I've started doing less and less.
I think we both have, because we have songs where it's like chaotic, it's good. It's chaotic though. And I think we've both learned how to pull back and say what we need to say and create the
Oh yeah.
environment, and not even not oversaturating it, just really getting to the point.
And that's what's wild about it is this album knows what it is and knows what it's doing to such an extent that like it took me a few listens to be like that was really experimental, like that was a really wild
Low
look,
key, right? Low
right?
key.
Because it's so like there's a trust you have that this ship is going where it's supposed to go, you know. And so it took I was like um was all of a sudden, the auto tune turns up, and I'm like, whoa, this is, I didn't even realize this was, stay in the kitchen, stay in the kitchen.
Never did that before either.
Right, right. I was like, this is some other shit, and like, but when you're in a space where everybody around you is great at their shit, then you're comfortable doing shit you've never done before, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah, that's like my favorite use of auto tune that I've done too, because it's not something I go to very often. But obviously, I have the plugin. We used it.
Right? You never know.
Yeah, like I remember doing it, and it was just like I don't remember if you said to do auto tune or what, but it was like, oh man, this sounds perfect on this. Like
Yeah, I
this
think it would
auto-tune
just happen.
plugin has never sounded so perfect in any of the times I've used it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't overkill either. It wasn't all over the track. It was just,
Well, we kind of went line by line. It's like there's lines that have it, then it goes back to not having it, then back to having it. Like it was kind of based on the line.
Which is
Yeah.
whenever it is used conscientiously, like it's an interesting tool. It's
Yep.
problem is a lot of rappers use it like little kids use ketchup.
Don't get me started
It's
on my
like,
oldest.
my God.
Yeah. So yeah, Kay, what stood out to you listening to Is This a Safe Space?
I think it was the energy of the production. It felt very like it felt very like you said, early 2000 and aughts. That's like the 2010s, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Like
the
the
odds.
production. in terms of the energy, how fun it was. Like I think hip hop production nowadays, it's I mean, you know how hip hop evolves, but it's like very nowadays it's like very there's no fun in it, I guess you could
Very
say.
serious.
Yes, very serious. Like the beats are they sound very serious. And this album to me really captures that energy of the early 2010s to me.
Bet.
Yeah.
I mean, I made a lot of serious music, and I definitely, as I get older, want like the stuff that stands out the most. And it's like, I don't think we sound like this necessarily, but like that spirit is in it. Is like Daylon, Tribe, Native Tongues, like that stuff just like never, it gets better with time.
Yes.
So I don't necessarily, I'm not like, oh, I want to sound like them, but that spirit of like having some fun and you being able to hear that in the music, I think gives the music a longer life with people. So that was maybe not fully conscious. I don't know if me and Sam ever talked about it, but it was definitely conscious of like trying to make something that'll get better over time, hopefully.
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of hip hop nowadays, it's great to hear, but I don't know if I would listen to it in the car. You know what I mean? Like they're great songs, very good songs, but it's not like car listenable listenable songs to me. But this feels like a song that you can like bring about with you while you go through your life. I mean, this album feels like something you can go like take it with you as you're living your life,
Yeah.
That's a dope compliment because it definitely goes in the car. And I listened to it in the gym the other day. And I was like, oh shit, this shit goes in the gym. It's not, I never like actually look that often to be like, I'm gonna make a gym track or I'm gonna make I'm like deliberately doing that. But I really do appreciate, people who do make that type of shit that like you can go hard in the gym to. But like, yeah, like I lived with it in the gym and let it ride. And it was just like, damn, this is dope. Like even the slower tracks, it was fine,
Yeah. Because the slower tracks have groove, like they have real groove to them. Like that's so. And yeah, the car test is interesting because Monday was, I had the day off and we were driving, and I was like, I'm gonna put on Psalm 1 in the car. This will be research and it'll be car music. And Flaws came on, and my wife started dancing immediately. Like,
yes,
never heard that shit before. And like that's it's very true. It does go in the car. My theory on this Optics, and I've talked to other producers about this, right? Because I've had other producers be like, my shit sounds different. And then the market now, I don't know why. I'm like, it's because you're a producer from the blog era, and the blog era, that music wasn't underground, it was an alternative form of popular music, right? Pac Div wasn't underground, right? Like Cool Kids weren't underground. They were suggesting a new way this could be, right? And like, so I think that's where this sound traces for me, is like this relates to that, like you're gonna listen to nothing but this mixtape for the next 6 months,
Man, I hope so. But yeah, no, I mean that's the era that was, I was in it and kind of just coming up, so I was looking at a lot of those groups for inspiration at that time. They were kind of like a step ahead of where I was at.
Yeah, and it's so that's, and I think people who came from that era, they have a gear that maybe other producers don't have, because when producers come up now, they come up in a very specific lane. They're either, we talked about this with Elucid, there's not enough blurring of the lines kind of thing. You're making Stu Bangas kind of stuff, or you're making Messiah music kind of stuff, but you're not, you can't play in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I always also did like full projects with people a lot, so that made it like, okay, we don't want it all to just be one sound. So, and then I listened to, at the same time I listen to like, I have a playlist of nothing but like 90s New York shit that I listen to, but then at the same time I'll be listening to new stuff and south, west, like whatever, I don't like to limit it to just that. And so, we have some tracks on the album like Stay in the Kitchen, Heal This, Flaws, that are definitely more like they're not trap beats, but it's leaning that way, maybe more in the way of like how I would hear Outkast would lean into stuff, but just like a
Yeah.
jazzier, fly, different kind of way. But then there's boom bap shit too. There's shit that's just like straightforward, dusty shit
Right. No, it's great.
that I love.
Yeah. So, and to throw this to you, Optics, same way through to Psalm 1. When you first started working with Psalm 1, what did you see uh, as the superpower, as the strengths?
The superpower, I mean, she could rap her ass off for sure. But like the two things other than like just like, oh yeah, she could rap, was you would pick the beats that I wanted people to pick. You didn't just pick the beats that sounded like other producers' beats, or like I feel like I had a lot of experience of people just taking the beats from me that would sound like somebody else, and they weren't. I was like, these aren't like
This is
this
not
is
even the
my
real.
shit,
This is not even a real deal.
Yeah, like I remember the song with Casual Assets. That was like one of my favorite beats. Everybody passed on that beat. I'm like, yo, that beat's crazy. Why is everybody not rapping over this? Like.
Yep.
And so that was something where I felt like you allowed me the space to be me, the safe space to be me, we could say. And then also just like, making music with people is it's like it's a very like family type thing. It's like we get along. I'm comfortable with you as a person. You come to the house and you're a great house guest. Like we
hang
get
out,
along.
man.
That's a really important part of who you're gonna
Yeah.
make music with. It's like I don't want to. I've had people I made music with who literally have left my front door wide open in the middle of the night.
It's like,
It's like they could rap, but they're an idiot. So
that's important.
Yeah, that is definitely important. Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, and early on, like I had experiences trying to get important people, and the interactions were so strange that I
Sure.
was like, I'm fine. I can just do something else. I'm not gonna.
yeah, you have some of those strange interactions when you meet people whose music you really like, or your heroes or anything like that. It's not. Sometimes it's great, not
Yeah.
always.
You only talks in second person, and you're like, I don't know. Thank you, based God. But it's but yeah. So but it's interesting. I think for me, while I was listening to Sam, I was struck, and it was the comparison with Mike Eagle comes into play with like, because very talented, very unique, but went to high school together, but
Yes.
also like people who are always getting better in technique, focused on technique, right? Like your hooks are always getting better. You're always finding ways to tell stories more succinctly. You're funny, but you're not a joke rapper,
Right.
Um,
Well, thank you. I'd be thinking I'm hilarious.
but I've seen people that are hilarious get swallowed up by their hilarious,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't get the work like we used to. So you keep the balance, and I love that. So but the technique, the growth of the technique, is what I've always adored, because I think maybe that got missed early on,
Mm-hmm.
because of how different you were than the expected model of what was out there. Yeah. So
I appreciate that, because growth is my favorite thing. I think that if we're really doing our art, I'll talk specifically for artists, but that could be for anything you put a passion and intention into. Like, you should be getting better. Like it should be getting more refined. And even as you take risks, they're calculated risks, or you put yourself in a position to do something great, even, if it's improvisational, but you create, I even say it in the album, just creating the space to create in that way. And I think for me, um, rapping has always just been so much fun, and rapping over different kind of beats,
Right.
just being a necrobat, that the necrobats, like that was really our whole thing, was just rapping over like everything and rapping over different kind of beats. And like, I had the first couple years of my performing career, all I had to do was double time or rap fast, and they'd be like, "Oh, I got that." So there was a lot of my career that was really bent on like showing you like the Chicago sort of style of, just from the Twista school of rapping and double timing and shit. So like that was a big part of my career. But like for me, it's like now I'm slowing down. I'm like, I really want you to catch what I'm saying. I really want you to see that the writing is up there. It's yes, I would we can all argue who's, better writers, better lyricists, and how they put things together. I mean, there are things that, certain rappers can do that I can't do, but I believe that what I do well, not too many people fucking with me, you know what I mean? So, and then the perspective, I think my perspective and my agility on the beat, um, Optiks helps. Optiks really provides that backdrop, and we both kind of experiment, but we keep it real, real high level, real craftsmanly.
Right. I mean, yeah, to some extent, it's like because when people will rank MCs, they're like ranking who has the craziest, on the radar freestyle or something. But like it's almost like the argument of like this person scored 30 on Jordan one night. You're like, yeah, but then Jordan
Yeah.
scored 37 nights in a row after that. Like
Mhm.
it's about consistency and being able to deliver a consistent product every time means a lot, man, over a span of years. Like, and it means a lot to me because I'm really fucking cheap. And I hate blowing money on shit that's whack. I hate wasting my time on shit that's whack, you know? Um, so yeah, just an,
Optics has been real patient with me too. And I think one great thing about us is like I don't tell him what to do with his beats or his production. He doesn't tell me what to do with my raps. And over the course of, several years, we've just been able to he's really been keeping score on what beats we've used and what beats and songs we haven't.
right.
And it was funny because it was summer of 2020. I want to say maybe no, it was last year, maybe around like April or May. And he sent me this SoundCloud playlist of like most of the tracks that you hear on this album. And I remember thinking, like, wait a minute, this is a fucking album. Like, because I just let him play, and I was like, and it took like 30 minutes or 36 minutes. I was like, wait a minute, like, I think we might be here. And I just kind of really had it in my head, like, because that was the time where the book was coming out, the memoir, and then Big Perm as well.
Yeah.
Um, and I've never really been in a position where I like have had like real albums in the tuck that really didn't take that much to get it over the finish line. Now it still took another year and everything with timing and lifing, lifing.
Yep.
But we just really kept at it. And then when I went up there earlier this year, we really just knocked everything out because if No Skims was like the 11th hour, that's the last track that we recorded, right?
Yeah.
And we were just like, what the fuck? We just did
I didn't
another.
even. I thought we were just. I was just trying to get a song for like some throw on an instrumental project or something. And then we did it, and I was like, oh no, this is for this.
Right. It's too good.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite hooks of the project.
Thank you.
And the yeah, it's wild to think about um the process of your writing because when we talked last time, you had said writing the memoir really did affect how you edited your work and how you looked it over, and now we're a few projects after that. How are you feeling the difference in terms of the way your process has changed?
The editing process is still crazy because, the last time I was up there, that was for like the final edits. And it was funny because we had some of these songs literally for years. And then like maybe earlier this year, like winter, there were just some lyrical things that I just wanted to change, and little tiny things. Like fun fact, scheduled maintenance. I had a line where I said it was an Eat the Cake anime line.
Oh,
That line was in the song for years, and then Tina Turner died, and there were people who were saying that she had, like, it devastated her how much people made fun of her pain, how much people made fun of her abuse with all the memes of Ike Turner, and like even with Jay-Z having the Eat the Cake line, and millions of rappers after that having, some version of Eat the Cake anime. And I had one of these lines in schedule maintenance, and I changed it to so I pray for the babies and cherish the Sade. And I did that edit. This is years later. So like even when I hear it now, I'm like,
6 years
yeah, we
apart.
really fixed that. Yeah, we really fixed that pretty good, like
6
you
years
wouldn't know
apart
it.
sounds seamless.
Yeah, and like just shit like that, we are able to do that. And like even having a song called having the strangest pet place, which is really kind of a dark horse, my favorite song on there,
yeah.
really ties things together thematically. Me and Optiks were on the book tour. We drove through a storm, hours and hours, really, really dangerous. We get to the spot. It's a very empty show. There's like 4 or 5 people there. And I just was sad about it. But I was also very, very grateful that we got there safe. I was very, very grateful that some people showed up. I was grateful to go to a Black-owned bookstore, and they carried my book there. And, they were really, really nice. We had a really dope Airbnb. There were some great things that happened, the couple days we spent in, it was North Carolina. And one of those things we did that song in the Airbnb. And I can hear the sort of melancholic, but I'm dope though in it, it's one of my favorite songs, but it definitely wouldn't, that's the type of song we wouldn't have got that song at the crib though.
No. Yeah, I mean that one was like harder to mix because we recorded it at a what like not even a kitchen, whatever that, like, again in a hallway.
Yeah. It was like a little like kitchen hallway thing, like Airbnb, like joint apartment sort of like place, but it was nice.
I
But
love how
not,
it turned out, and like
yeah,
I made the beat there too.
yeah.
They had a really bad some kind of speaker, like you could barely hear it, and I made that beat. Like I had the sample, and I think I played you a couple samples, and was like, hey, and you were like, yeah, that one's cool, and I looped it up as best I could without being able to hear the mix, and yeah, that was definitely a moment. That was definitely what I talk about when like things being a moment, like that was one. And that was like a cherry on top for the album before No Skims was the cherry
It's
on top.
true. Because that shit was crazy. It was like 5 people there, but someone bought like $200 worth of merch off me. And like, it was just like one of those things where
And
it's just like,
they recorded the whole show and posted it too.
they definitely did. I was like, why are you posting this empty ass show? But whatever. It was all right. It was a good ass set. I remember me and Optiks were like, oh, we got a good ass set. Cause like a lot of when we do shows together, I want to do mostly his beats,
Right.
For me, it's just like, yeah, why am I gonna like take you out of your, comfortable house to play everybody else beats? You know what I mean? So
well, now I just, we tilted the ratio a little bit more towards me anyway with this album. So
there you go.
It's very true. Because I know you keep track of these things,
He does. He's got the analytics.
What's the oldest song on the album?
Well,
Is it
scheduled
stay in the kitchen or scheduled maintenance?
well, I mean, those were all that same trip. I think if my memory serves me correct, I think either Brilliant or Scheduled Maintenance were done the first day of that trip, and Stay in the Kitchen was like the second or third day.
Okay.
And then
So,
because we
but
were doing
yeah,
a lot of rapper chick stuff too at the, we were coming up for
yeah,
shows and then like we do a song here, a song there. But
yeah.
I got time,
We
fun
recorded
fact.
Non-Binary that same trip,
Yeah,
and
very
like
true.
what's the one with Emma singing? Emma and Emma.
Brilliant. Oh, we did another one for rapper chick shit.
Yeah, the fucking opera sounding beat. I can't.
That's awesome. No, that's crazy. That's
And then
awesome.
I got time we brought back.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, yeah, I Got Time was the first song we recorded for this album, but then you took it for Flight of the Wig, and I was upset about that. I didn't want to give that one up. It made sense, but I didn't want to give that one up. And
Yeah.
then yeah, so then we did I Got Time Complete, which it's funny, I almost was like, no, we don't need to do that. This is just for me because I was upset to lose this joint. But it's good and it fits. So
I dig it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense where it is in the sequencing. So I'm definitely into it. But I love that song anyway. So I was like, I'll take another version. Yeah. So it's interesting. There was I'll get your opinion on this. I saw there was a tweet earlier that was something like, you know, every real artist who wants to take a step to the next level needs a real producer with them, not just to give them beats, but to guide them and all this stuff. Uh, and somebody quote tweeted and was like, well, it's a skill fail for you if you can't guide yourself through your music a little bit. Uh, my response was, I just wish the sentence had said, every artist who wants to go to the next level needs a network of people, network of creative artists around them. Like a network of people maybe to push you as fellow MCs, to, inspire you as creators and producers, people to run your shit by, hey, am I on the right track here? Like, I think people are missing out on community a little bit, you know? But yeah, what are your thoughts on that and on the differences there?
Well, if I can hop in, I got one quick thing. So when you talk about community and people to run shit by, I just made a post about this. So you mentioned Mean Joe Scheme earlier.
Yep.
And so that's like my best friend. He's roommate. So you go through this wall, his room's over there.
That's
And
awesome.
me and him are producing another artist together, and then I worked on all his stuff together. But the thing about Joe is a lot of people have a lot of yes men around them. Joe is a no man. Joe he doesn't like shit. He doesn't want to hear anything. He doesn't want to like anything. He doesn't even want to like it.
He literally will be like, "Are you still rapping, song? Why are you still rapping? What the fuck? Like, you still like doing this? What the hell?"
And yeah, so I that is such a great person to have in the studio, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
We played the album for Joe, and Joe really loved it. And I mean, he kind of like already knew it. He knew the songs, but like hearing it in its entirety, he was like, "Oh man!" And I was like, "Okay, we got the no man to say yes." So this
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful. But the other part of the no man that is so valuable, and you're right, no man is so underrated, is I want to know the counter argument to what I love so much about what I just did. Right? If there's a counter argument of why this sucks, give it to me now. Right? Give it to me now. So that
yes, for sure.
Sometimes I gotta hide shit from the no man for a little bit, so I can get some time to sit with it.
Ready.
Because some shit is just for me, and it's all good. But yeah, it's definitely a valuable thing to have.
Yeah, I've tried to convince bosses at work of like, no, I know you think that guy's nuts, but he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care about like impressing you, which makes him incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right? That's how I am in my day job, actually. Like everybody's afraid of everybody. I'm like, yo, I met all my heroes. I'm not afraid of anybody else. Like,
But I also don't want to be the old head that shits on the young people for not making music in the same room, because
Sure,
some of them are building communities, running shit by them. They have this network. It's just not in the room. Uh,
sure.
it may be FaceTime, maybe all kinds of things, right? But they have those people in their life. So if you have it, that's cool. But if you don't have it, you can't replace it.
Mm.
You can't.
Having a handful of trusted advisors is great. Trusting yourself. Like I've been over the years been able to trust myself even more and not just do certain things with reckless abandon, and also really just be on some like, well, have you said this? And if you've said this before, what are you doing new? Because I think that there are some artists that like I love to say like Currency, like he's going to talk about cars and weed and living a nice lifestyle and just
Yep,
being that
yep.
that dude. And like now he talks about his son and his investments as he grows as a businessman. You're not gonna get much more out of my guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
No complaints from me, but there are some artists who are just like, well, they not talking about nothing new. And it's like understanding what kind of artist you are. Are you sort of an artist that you know what it is, and you're supposed to kind of be talking about uh things as they happen to you, like different life events, different life things. I think at me over 20 years in, I'm gonna give you some jokes. I'm gonna talk about some relationship shit. I'm gonna very much be like, I hate this society. It sucks. Very much remind you I'm a Black woman, very much remind you I have, weapons at the crib,
Right,
like
right.
very much some topical stuff, but I think at the core it's just like finding out, kind of who you are and what you stand for through the
Mhm.
music.
And how many times, Sam, have you seen an artist give the audience what they want, something completely new, and the audience is like, "Get that shit the fuck out of
All the time,
here."
all the time.
I
So,
just couldn't help but think that, man, I wish Chance was here to talk about that shit. To be like, I gave them matrimonial love. They were like, "Get
oh my God, they were
the
like, get
dude."
that fucking I love my wife shit out of here, which
Uh,
is crazy.
yeah. I mean, we the truth is the audience doesn't know what they want. That's the truth. Um,
Very much so.
they want they want they actually want 30% of what they had before or something, but they want you to surprise them with the other percent, right?
We
They
talk. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You go ahead.
Did we talk about this? Because it was the not Tyler the Creator, but West Side Gun. How
Right.
like the audience is always like, oh Griselda, like they sound the same, it sounds the same. But then he'll give you something like his last album,
Yep.
and he'll get a little experimental in terms of like the shit that he'll rap on is not boom bap dusty coke rap stuff. He'll give you something a bit out of the box, and everyone is always just like, nah, I don't like that shit, I don't like that shit. But it's
Right.
like, but if he gives you Derringer, and you know what I mean, like if he gives
Right.
you that for a full album again, you're gonna say that he's not evolving
Right. That
when
shit
he's like a
hits
true
weird. I don't
artist.
like that shit. You're like, oh, well, he's trying something new. Like,
Yeah, it's like, what do you want? Like, okay, do you not want him to try new things? It's like, I don't know.
yeah, they wanted an experiment, but an experiment that works perfectly every time.
right.
Mm.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So is it really an experiment?
Yeah,
I mean, because like Tyler the Creator, have you heard his latest, the
I have.
Chromacopia?
Yeah.
It's like it's not experimental in terms of like what he does, but it is. And then also, it's in his pen, and his ability to really like tell a real story about his own personal life now. That's
Yep.
something we haven't always gotten with him. And then, you know, he'll give you a crazy, crazy ass beat like Sticky or something like that. But we've come to expect that. But
Yeah.
he's like the ultimate experimental dude, right? Or is he not? Or
Well,
like,
and I think people need to people look at that really carefully. Like, if you experiment for long enough, you can train your audience to roll with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you've benefited from this, right? Like you've trained your audience to expect lots of things. I was thinking about when you first rolled out hologram Kizzy
Sure.
as the name, and I was like, wow, okay, that's an interesting name. Like looking back on it, I was like, oh shit, that was her telling her audience, sometimes we're gonna be dancing with glow sticks, and that's okay. Like
I
it's
spent
gonna
2 years in San Francisco, and dubstep has a special place in my heart, man. Like,
right.
you know,
And so you were prepping them, and like that helps over time. And that's the other part of the conversation we were kind of having in the breakdown of like, it certainly helps over time that the industry kind of completely adopted the model of
yeah, it's like LOL,
sexual
great,
dance beats.
wonderful.
Like, can you imagine if Cupcake had dropped like on Rhyme Say
Oh man,
in
stop, 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 stop. You know what I mean? It's just like you see things and saying, "Oh, I'm ahead of my time." You can't say it, you know.
yeah.
But then like after enough time has passed, you can say, "Yeah, I was ahead of my time on that," but it's not fun, you
No,
know. And then you see it get bit up, and it's like it worked for everyone. Look at Waka Flocka. Waka Flocka did like 4 years of pure dubstep, like glow stick music, just shit like
nobody
that
that got paid, nobody that was ahead of their time got paid what they should have gotten paid, right?
ever.
Like at best, you're like one of those old blues acts opening for the Rolling Stones.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. But yeah, and I was wondering your take, because back in the day, for a while, it felt like we got one popular female rapper at a time,
Right.
you know. And now we're actually in an era. I think maybe it's because the industry collapsed, but
Sure.
we
Yeah.
have a ton of popular female rappers to choose from.
Hmm.
Where do you how do you who's the itemized Mount Rushmore of the skill set right now in the pop rap
The
sphere?
pop rap
Ladies. Yeah,
girlies.
yeah, yeah.
Meg technically bar for bar. Um, she might be up there. Cupcake is just very technically, and also Chicago, so I'm always gonna be like, But the pop rap girlies, I fuck with Glorilla. She did the DMX this year, did 2 albums,
Yep.
2 albums in a year. They're both bangers.
Banger.
She's all voice and attitude, and I fuck with it. Lotto, I wanna like more. It feels like Drake wrote a lot of her album, and it's like,
The
but
thing I love about Lotto is that she is a one for one mix of Drake and Ti.
it's like you hear it too. Okay.
And I've never even heard or thought about that as a mixture, right? She's got songs on the Sugar Honey Iced Tea that like are Drake songs, but she's
Pretty
also got
much.
songs that are like Ti songs, and they're the songs that are mixes of
And which one's more believable? Like I don't know. I fuck with Lotto, but it feels like, she's a little bit of a script, a little bit. And I fuck with her, and she's definitely one of those kids that was on like a hip hop reality show.
yeah.
Like her dad, I keep forgetting, like her dad is like DJ, not Hurricane, but one of them DJs in that realm. Like she's like a low-key Nepo baby, which is fine. I'm not against the good Nepo baby. I love me some Willow Smith.
Right.
But yeah, like so yeah, Meg is really, really up there technically. Glorilla.
My pick. You know my pick.
Who's your pick?
Flo Milli.
Oh yeah, Flo Milli is just amazing.
I love Flo Milli
She
so much.
hasn't really missed yet. I love Ken the Man.
Yep.
Ken the Man's really raunchy and
Mhm.
disrespectful to dudes.
It's awesome.
I was into Sexy Red for a while, but then I'm like, oh, she's a psyop.
Yeah. It
But
got pretty
her
weird.
energy is good.
It got pretty
She
weird.
got weird fast with Sexy Red. I'm like, what are you doing, sis? Like, what are you doing? But yeah, I dig the girlies, and you're right. Like it's like the record the record business is collapsing. They're like, you bitches can have it.
Right.
The sinking ship, like have at it. It's fine.
Because all the popular dudes like got hooked on shit and started droning and were just
Oh
like,
my goodness.
they sound so sad.
All the rappers are so sad.
So sad. Like people like, man, there's a new Future album. Like, I know it's so sad.
Like, what do you have to be sad about, bro?
There's literally a song about like a friend dying of codeine. I think it's
Well, yeah, that's
friend died of
definitely
codeine.
yeah.
Like it's just like
Fentanyl, yeah, fentanyl overdoses
died of
are
fentanyl.
sad.
It's just like if it's almost like that, he's Clint Eastwood in that movie that like he's the old gunfighter and he
One of
just
the last ones standing.
but they're pulling him in and he has to kill people. He doesn't even like it anymore. Like that's how a lot of those guys feel now. But, yeah. Anyway, but talking about runs, K, on this, talk to me about how you think this is shaped, formed, where the flow of this album for you.
The flow, I mean, I think it starts out with high energy, and then it really that's what I found interesting, like the energy, like it almost felt like a roller coaster ride in a lot of ways. Like there were some parts that were very high energy, and then there were some parts that were like mid tempo. But for me, I think my run would probably be like, I love Safe Spaces. I think that's probably my favorite song. So I think it really goes from David to Brilliant.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Those are some very serious songs.
Yeah, David, Paolo, Safe Spaces, and Brilliant.
Yep. I love that. Yeah.
I just thought, because I think you did a great job in terms of the balance, because the beats, I mean, there's some high energy beats, but at the same time, the content and what's the word I want to use? Like the message and meaning never gets overshadowed by the production.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can have both. Like you can have like good radio and like car friendly beats, and at the same time be actually saying something.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one or the other. And I think this album really did a good job of balancing those two directives.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about our conversations with Alaska Adams over the years, where Alaska said, like, I used to just rap my face off and try and kill whoever. And
yes,
I'm too old for that shit now. Like, I got to say what I got to say, and that feels like definitely a common space here for the writing. To get super nerdy, Kay, I have this as an album in 4 pieces.
Okay.
My brain. So the first 4 songs, that's the banger suite, right? That's the car dancing suite where I start dancing like the groundhog in Caddyshack. Then there's 5, 6, 7. That's when it gets weird, right? Strangest Place. That's why Strangest Place is so ill. The CD. We got the CDs.
Yeah.
Grab them
Out
on
now.
Bandcamp. Grab them on Bandcamp now. That's awesome. We got the vinyl. We got the whoa.
Nope, just another CD.
We're waiting on the vinyl. We'll let everyone know in the vinyls.
The vinyl.
Coming.
Waiting on the snuggies. waiting on the merch. So, but yeah, 5, 6, 7. Strangest Place.
Yeah.
Where we go from this kind of, we're really enjoying this boom bap. It's filling our headset, our headphones, and then Strangest Place gets weird and murky, and it's almost like being in the Willy Wonka thing, traveling through the chamber. It's just, and that's when you start to get the skits of like the the Egg McMuffin and the dildos and, like
Green Slime did that.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
And then Mean Joe Scheme did a couple.
Was he being literal, or was that like?
Man, you never know with slime, bro.
What'd you say? What'd you say, Kay?
Was he being literal? Because that was the line that really stuck with me. Like I was.
You know what? You're gonna have to ask him. Usually
I'm listening.
his answer is, I'm not quite sure, but it's very possible that what he said in that skit is very true.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a very drunk tour night. You know, when you wake up from some of those nights and you're like, wait, things are askew.
That's the thing that's what makes Slime one of the funniest people in rap music. You just never know if the joke is a joke or not.
It's like, I don't know.
He's incredible. I need more music. But 5, 6, 7. So that's that, and because then from The Strangest Place we go into a incredible locked-in story song, Too Close to the Sun. This album does such a good job talking about relationships, and coming out of relationships, and you know, without being heavy about it, but like giving you real shit of like, you know, I was excited. Here's how it went wrong. You know, stay in the kitchen. The auto tune, it's a banger. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's sweet. And then we go the run you talked about, Kay. David, Paolo, Safe Spaces, brilliant. That's like the mid-tempo thing. But like masterful mid-tempo. And I have the same favorite song as Kay. Safe Spaces is the quintessential mid-tempo, beautiful, like native tongues feel like that I just was like, oh, this is great. Uh, I could shovel some snow to this album. I feel like do that.
Oh, that's a great compliment.
Yeah.
Because you need to lock in.
Yep. And then Billy Woods said once that people focus too much on the last song and that the last two songs are connected.
True.
And this is an album where that is true. I Got Time Complete and No Skims feel like the end of that journey collectively together to me. And maybe that is the old and the new bumping it together. But yeah, so that's where my flow's at. So for me, I think the most important run would be the 5, 6, 7. Just because after 5, 6, 7, you're like, all right, I know to expect lots of things. Like I've seen lots of looks now, and I'm ready for whatever you bring me. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk about a little bit about the ordering of the album? Like, how did you decide upon the track list order?
Bare knuckle brawling with this is where we did a lot of negotiation. Me and Optiks do not fight a lot, but over this track listing, we definitely had a lot of back and forth. So you wanna expound?
Things moved around a little bit because what Heal This I think moved up. That was later in the album originally.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't like it when it was later in the album, but then as I had my dude played some flute on the chorus, and I felt like that kind of brought it together for me a little bit. Like it felt for a little while. There's a time where that song felt a little more unfinished than some of the rest, and then it felt finished, and I was like, oh, okay, now this is good. And
yeah,
By Design is one that's kind of like in and out of being my favorite. But like I don't know, jumping right into that was track 2 for a little while, I think, right? And yeah, jumping right into that just felt like I don't know, we didn't need to get to that tempo that fast. I don't know. Like yeah, the only other the wild thing I had that we like you shut me down was when I was like, oh, maybe we should have No Skims be track 1.
I understood though. I understood why. That shit comes in crazy.
It's either 1 or 13. Like it's one or the other.
Right. Which we've had a lot of people tell us is like the first track should be good enough to be the last track. Like that, you should be debating between those two.
Yeah, I have this argument on every album I work on. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm like, actually, every first song there's been a conversation about it being the last song.
Yeah.
Flaws to me was it though, because honestly, even the way because I feel like I got off the plane and did Flaws like
Yeah.
last May, and it was just like I just kept rapping, and it was just like, damn, I'm really rapping here. And then it was like, do we need a hook? And it was like, not really. Just fucking rap until you're out of raps.
Mhm.
And no other song like that, there's not any other song like that on the album. And I think it is just a great
Okay.
display of just like writing the fuck out of the beat and like
Yep.
saying what you had to say. And then later on we came and opened the intro up so it could feel a little bit more like this is the start of an album, because for a very long time it really just started with like a quick, like almost like a dart noise, and then me just starting rapping and not that beginning like sort of like soliloquy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, I thought Flaws, it provided great context for the album. Like, I think that was a great opener because that really set the stage for the rest of the project for me.
Thank
Yep.
you. Yeah, just thematically, I
Yeah.
think that's been an issue with me. If I really hold myself to the fire, we were talking about that a little bit earlier, just like, the experimental that is almost like a crutch sometimes. It won't feel cohesive. And I've just been very big on cohesion within my projects lately.
Mm.
I feel very blessed every time I get to drop another album. I think sometimes we don't understand what's on the horizon just for society. And, even if we zoom in more just for music, how are we doing music? Like, if you notice, we even dropped this in a sort of out the trunk digital way. It has sort of 3 tiers of release, and that's because I can kind of see what's on the horizon for even like putting your albums out on Bandcamp or putting your albums out, Spotify is like, if you don't get 1,000 plays on this, you ain't shit. And it's just like, girl, what? Like, that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I still have to pay TuneCore or whoever the fuck my like little $59.99 to put it up there. So I'm
Right.
already paying you to put it up there. And if it doesn't get 1,000 plays, you don't fucking even count my shit. Like, y'all suck, so they don't treat the smaller artists right.
No.
You could put out the best album of your life, but if people don't know about it, some people might think of that as a failure. And I've just had to really like uh reconfigure my brain around like even releasing music. But this project with Optiks, like if I died tomorrow, you know, this is a great one to be like, yeah, that we
Thank
did what we set out to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did what we set out to do. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's my pitch for is this a safe space, right? Is like we walk around all day talking about how rappers aren't technically sound, right? How like they're mumbling or they're all style, there's no substance, right? They're not talking about anything. Back in my day, Chuck D was doing this and that. Like, all right, dude, well, here's this album. Support this. Like this is everything you've
right,
asked.
right.
It's
Mhm.
thoughtful, it's sincere, it's funny. It so many different cadences, flows, styles, like everything you would want. Like it's absolutely right there, you know. So
Thank you.
yeah, it's rising my end of year already. It's going, it's moving up.
See, I
you.
remember, I told myself after last year, I
Mm.
said, yo, I gotta put something out. I gotta get on his list.
Oh, yeah, I was.
And you know what? No pressure, because if I'm not on the list, that just means there are more better albums
It's there's a lot.
in
There's
your
a lot going
opinion.
on. There's Indonesian soul in my list. There's all kinds of cool things happening. But yeah, but it's great, and I'm so happy that you've been at the place. You was another thing I wanted to talk to you about because the expectations around you have been all over the place
Hmm.
over your career. What talk to me about because is Polly the one that you felt really didn't do what you wanted it to do and you were in a low place, or what was the project where you were like, I think this is the shit, and then it didn't open how you
Mhm.
thought it would open, and you had to reconfigure your brain. How did you get through
I
that?
don't think Polly was that one. I did what I wanted to do on Polly as far as like, having those like really dramatic uh interludes and things
Yep,
like
yep.
that. Um and then just talking about, you know, starting the discussion around polyamory, which again, I was talking about this stuff
Right.
in 2013, and a lot of people years later were more embracing of that in the art and hip hop in particular. Um, Definitely not the first poly rapper, probably not, but just the subject matter, I think was a
Publicly.
little ahead of its time, yeah, publicly, exactly.
Right.
Uh, or, like I like to say, one person in the relationship is poly and the other
Right.
person has no clue what the fuck is going on.
Right. Right.
Like it's not quite the same. But I think Hug Life was one of those albums where I thought I expected it to do a bit more or something a little bit differently than what it ended up doing. Even though for me it was a triumph of having a pseudonym, like starting a catalog under Hologram Kizzy, and even bringing Hologram Kizzy back this year with the Kid Cudi disc and just my whole NFT project
Yeah.
that was using Hologram Kizzy as a character in the metaverse. So
Mm.
I just used that character as just like something that it's like, oh, let's build a world, let's have fun with a cartoon. That was me kind of bringing things full circle for myself, because I've had a lot of ideas, but as I continue to grow as an artist, sometimes it's like, oh, there's some callbacks here. Like, for instance, Too Close to the Sun is literally a callback to the entire Poly album,
Right.
being like,
Right.
oh shit, that didn't work.
Right. 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 Absolutely. The opposite of that, like, oh, I got to pick myself up. This thing didn't do what it did. A project you released where you're like, I hope this works, and then all of a sudden it super worked. Would
Hmm.
that, in my
Flight of
mind,
the Wig.
that's free hugs, but I don't know if that syncs up with real life. But
No, Flight of the Wig would be for me
Flight of the Way, okay,
because
2019.
I
Yep.
woke up one morning and like I had so much money in my Bandcamp, so many new, like 1,000 new followers and things, and they had put my Flight of the Wig up as like album of the day or something on Bandcamp, and that was like when it really like that shit really. I mean, not that it wouldn't matter now, but 5 years ago it mattered like so much, at
Right.
least to my bottom line. It's still, if you look at my Bandcamp stats, like Flight of the Wig is going to be like, that's a hard album to beat. Just if you talk about like metrics wise, if you talk about just me doing what the fuck I wanted to do, Free Hugs is definitely a triumph. And
Mm.
working with like A+, like, come on, like, that's legendary shit.
Right. Right. And I can understand the Flight of the Way because, I mean, you debuted in 2005, and
Man.
to 2019 to be racking it up like that is I mean, that must have felt incredible.
Yeah, because I was an Uber driver, that was the first album where I was like, I cannot care what RSC thinks. Like I can't anymore. I had gotten to a point where, even when I met Optiks, we did a lot of music where we thought that was going to end up on possibly a Rhymesayers album. And obviously that did not work out. But, like I knew Optiks during that point where I was just, you know, I was looking for tracks for my second Rhymesayers album for like a zillion years, that was like the objective. And
For the
by
summer.
2019, it was kind of like, I don't give a fuck about that association anymore. Like this is self-funded. I fucking drove a million weirdos around with Uber and
Yep.
Lyft to make the money to like, produce this album. And so that's what made it such a triumph, because it was like that was that first project where I was like, no, this is all me. Like I paid for the beats, I paid for the features, I paid for the mixing, mastering. Like this was all like me getting that team of, like you said, trusted advisors,
Yep.
getting people around you to be like, oh shit, no, what you're doing, keep going, and me just feeling like I could do it on my own. It was a very much me proving to myself that I could put out an album on my own.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. It's a great thing, and this album feels like a culmination of that journey, and it does call to all those things, but sees them in a new way. It's really dope.
Mhm.
Kay, what else you got for questions?
No, I think another thing I think this album does, and I know we've talked about it in terms of thinking about, hip hop and rap in almost like a literary way, in terms of, creating a character and allowing the audience to follow that character's journey through the years. And I think, particularly what young artists can learn from this album, which I think you did really well, was, you created not necessarily a character, but I think you displayed your personality and you presented your personality in a musical way that was really engaging. Because there's some artists, like, you listen to their full project, like maybe 15, 16 songs, and at the end of the album, you don't even know who they are as a person or as an artist.
Right.
Yeah, they check the generic boxes of like cool or sad, or
like you don't feel like you got a sense of, like, I listened to this whole thing, but I have no idea who this person or artist is.
Or worse,
and I think you did a really great job of letting your audience know who you were.
or even worse than that, Kay, in the middle of all the murky nonsense will be an incredibly interesting thing that never gets explored. It's just like,
introspective, like 3 bars. You're like, you did it, do that
and
again.
then it's back to regular programming.
Out of nowhere, it's just like, and my mom all lost her ear last year. I'm like, whoa.
Like, let's talk about that.
That's not the end of verse 2. That's a fucking song. But yeah, you never know what that shit.
So I guess my question would be, was there anything that I know that you were writing a book. So was there anything that you took from writing that book that you kind of applied to this project?
Absolutely. Again, Too Close to the Sun. If you read the book, it's like, if you read the book and then heard Too Close to the Sun, you're like, I know exactly what she's talking about, because I write about this failed, violently terrible relationship in my book in great detail. But I love the fact that, like, I say so much in Too Close to the Sun, but I don't quite say all the juicy bits. It's actually kind of PG. I just say, like, I don't get too vulgar, but it is like this very much, I guess, for lack of a better term, progressive, alternative relationship to a lot of people that, they wouldn't understand, like, even, a point of view of having like a day like that.
Yep. Tell you, Crime Apple would have gotten into the details, would have gotten into the nuts.
I might get into the details on another song, but I like that the first time I played it for Angel, she was like so uncomfortable because she was like, what the fuck are you gonna say?
It was like braced for it. Yeah.
At the end, she was like, "Whew, that wasn't so bad." And I was like, I think I got something here. I was like, yeah, you got a visceral, like, what the fuck is this bitch gonna say about our, like, very spicy.
I might have had that feeling when you were recording it. I was like, wait, what all?
Like, this is tea.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's a great moment. Having run like a poetry reading, there was always that moment when, like, a lady got on stage and started her piece, and it was about the dude you were fucking standing next to.
Yes.
And you were like, oh shit. You should have done anything like that. Oh
my God.
Yeah, that was fun.
And I'm very much that artist now. I'm like, please don't break my heart, because you finna be some subject matter. I promise. Don't even make no mistake.
There's gems in the stash.
Oh yeah. We got tea. We've got some tea.
That's good.
Next album, next album title,
Okay.
Optics. I'm
You
We
winning
got some
Optics.
tea.
got tea.
They got some tea. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
That's even better.
That's
Yep.
funny.
Yep. I like it. The
Write that
so
down.
with recommendation corner, we'll do that. We'll segue here.
Mhm.
Talk about what we've been listening to.
Sure.
I've been rocking some weird shit. I don't really even know where I found this shit. Um, Rod Roche and China Beijing, the ninth.
Okay.
And it's Massachusetts stuff, but it feels kind of like Massachusetts drill to me or something.
Okay.
Which, shout out to Brooklyn for inventing drill. Appreciate
That's
it.
good. That's good.
SD Mac is on it.
Okay.
Vice, Smello's on it. It's fun. Um, I like when an attractive lady can say crazy sex things, but also be a good rapper at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
She had a line on that where she said something like, "I'm like Biggie out on the block all day with my titties out." And I was
Good
like,
stuff.
"Oh, I like this person. This is my kind of thing." That's good stuff. So just fun knucklehead energy for me. Uh, that'll be my lead dog. The next one, two crazy people from Miami, having fun. Shoddy and Money Mowgli. Uh, Am I Aliens?
Okay.
Rapping their face off about Miami scam culture and just shit talking with each other. They have two very different rap styles, kind of deliveries, um, and it just works. They work really well together. Um, yeah, and I remember hitting each of them like, "When are you going to work with you?" We're doing it now. I'm like, "Oh no, cool!" And this is what I wanted. Um, the third is the last album publicly of Chesky.
Mm.
Okay. We interviewed Chesky about the Bring Us the Head of Francisco Falls Part
Yep.
1, which is one of my favorite albums of the year. And this is Part 2. Still Factor Chandelier all over it.
Right.
Micah Nine produced some. Everybody knows Chesky. This is the more experimental Chesky with punk and sub pop kind of feel to it.
Mhm, mhm.
But he pulls everything off. He's awesome. So
Another experimental, like, what do you like? Come on. You just gotta know,
yeah,
you know.
but like somebody who just is relentless in what they stand for, what they want, to get it accomplished. Uh, and I love it. If he's gonna hang it up and just kind of release his music through Patreon and just kind of uh, focus on Fake Four, this is a great way to go out. These two projects. So
Yeah, for sure.
the big Fast and the Furious ending for him. Optics, what are you rocking with? What are you playing? What are you bumping?
So a lot of, I mean, I play a lot of like just 90s Dusty Underground shit, but we're gonna talk some new shit that I like. So I had a second. I really like Makami's album, Rich Ass Haitian.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's like kind of reminds me of my dude Blitz the Ambassador, but like more raps.
Let's
And
see.
then
So dope.
and then this dude Quality here in Brooklyn, who he's just ill. Nice guy too. Like good dude, makes beats, raps. He's got a project Secondhand Crack Smoke that's really dope. And then did a beat set end of last year with Spanish Ran, and he's got a lot of dope shit out. But the project that he put out, I think last year with Aldo, Holy City Zoo, is like one of my favorite albums, like new albums in a while. Very similar sound to like Griselda, but just more psychedelic, more. You guys use the word craftsman a lot,
Yep. Yep.
and he is like the ultimate craftsman of producers right now, and I think his flowers are going to be coming.
Mm.
He's working really hard at it. Dope dude. And that album is crazy. That album is a movie. He's released some other stuff since then that's really dope, but that Holy City Zoo album is like something special that I definitely recommend.
Yeah, when I was talking about like producers having like their I fuck with my people and their people, but you got to know people to get in. I was thinking of Spanish Red. Like
Word.
Spanish Red has that church collective, and they basically grew up together in the Bronx. A lot of them, right? Like uh, him and Blue.
I just know him. I don't know
Yeah.
the MCs actually like
Yeah, Blue,
on a
Bloo,
personal-
like
Yeah.
grew up like down the street or whatever. Like it was, yeah, they
Oh, okay.
known each other for a million years. So he's just, yeah, he doesn't like drama in his periphery. Which is cool.
Yeah, nah, makes sense. And he makes dope shit. You can tell he really loves it. And
Yep.
it's like, we'll just every once in a while, just be on Instagram talking about some rap nerd shit. We all like the same
Also,
white label singles from 1997. So
he also runs with Nimlo, who freaks out K, which I really enjoy. Nimlo.
That's
So
hilarious.
like there's hardcore rappers who talk about drugs and scary shit, but there's also a cutoff point where you're too good at it, and it's like people don't want it uncut like that. Like Nimlo crossed that bridge where people were like, I don't know, man. And
Like,
then he's like too good at that shit. It's great. So what are you bumming, someone? What are you rocking with?
The new Rome Streets and Derringers, good stuff. Like I said, the Glorilla. There's an album that I just found randomly on my title, sort of like jazz algorithm. It's called Lone Star. No, not Lone Star. It's called, what's the name of that album? Sorry. Lone Star is the track that I love so much. But the album is called Three of Us Are From Houston and Ruben Is Not. Walter Smith III is the band. It's like a collective.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I have this like, I've been getting back in the gym. So I have this like Larry June playlist that's very motivating.
Yeah.
Some of his most like motivational speeches I got in this like big playlist. I think I was subjecting Optiks to that when he came into
yeah, I was
town.
gonna say I like Larry June, but I heard more Larry June than I've ever heard in my life. I knew a few albums.
Yeah.
I think I heard every song he ever did on the way to Minneapolis.
It was smoothies, and it was
A lot of that.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. The other nutty thing I've been doing, Kay, which has been, I don't know what triggered this, but it's been hilarious. I created a playlist of Jim Croce's debut album Facets mixed song for song with the Dead Prez album Let's Get Free.
Okay.
Track that. I was like, you know what? Now I'm going to do the same thing for their second albums. So Revolutionary but Gangster and like Ingrid and Jim. And so I'm like doing the one for one Jim Croce Dead Prez thing. I don't know why, but it's been fun. So I'm gonna keep rocking and learn more about them. Dead Prez were definitely ahead of their time. That was wild.
Oh man, for sure.
Yeah. So what are you rocking with, Kay?
Nothing new musically. I did see movie I saw this weekend. I saw Anora. It's about like she's a sex worker who ends up marrying a oligarch's son, Russian oligarch's son.
Oh, so that's
Anora, yeah.
okay.
It was a solid movie. But nothing new musically this week. But
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have the next couple of weeks. I think we're gonna have a lot of good music come out for the end of the year. So
I saw the movie, what was it, Trapped with Josh Hartnett?
ooh, how was that?
So here's the thing. Josh
Oh.
Hartnett's amazing. It's a very good movie. Josh Hartnett's amazing.
Okay.
Like he gets away with so much shit because he's a clean cut white dude that at a certain point you're like, really? Like the police finally get him and they like tase him, you know.
Well, don't ruin the
No one's
movie
got their
because
guns out. I'm like,
Spoiler alert. Well,
I
damn.
know.
he's a serial killer. This motherfucker's a serial killer. You're like, you know,
They're like, no, he's a good looking white guy. Leave him alone.
it's ridiculous. I got so pissed. Like there are black children playing with obviously fake guns getting killed in the street. Like, fuck this.
Oh
I got
wow.
mad. But yeah, I'll figure out how to turn that part of my brain off eventually. But yeah, it was like it's just a weird flick. It kind of falls apart in Act 3. There's a lot of weird shit that happens in Act 3 where you're like, what? But you know, that's the Shyamalan up and down. M. Night Shyamalan. What are you gonna do?
Shamalama ding dong.
Yeah.
No, that's not right. We're not supposed to say that's probably gonna be. Yeah, cut that out. Cut that out.
But yeah, thank you for being on. This has been fantastic.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure, you know.
We'll keep repping.
I only release music to be on this show.
Keep repping. We're doing it. I mean, you have some of the great moments on the show with the year-end wrap-up we did, where you were able to break shit down, Larry June included.
Yeah, we did do it, Larry. See, let me get off, dude. Dick. Let me stop.
It was
We
talked about it. But Kay, we got more coming in November. We got Maxo Creams coming. We got Michael Kiwanuka's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got lots of cool shit coming in November.
That's what's up.
Yeah, we'll see. Thank you all, and thanks to everybody who's been rocking with us on the Patreon and supporting our Backwoods Fantasy Draft episode is now the number 2 listened to episode in our space.
That's dope.
We gotta come up with a new bracket, man. We gotta keep going. We'll do it. Right on to the top.